Hello, it's me, Vera, and welcome to Stitch of Fate. Expect that we're going to do bad things that deal with difficult themes and content meant for an adult audience. Take care of yourself, mortal.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some more Stitch of Fate, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition podcast. As always, I am your storyteller, Mike Martin, joined by my wonderful 4 players. We got ourselves Bub, we got ourselves a Dot, we got ourselves a Josh, and we got ourselves a Mark. It's good to see you all. I would love to go back into the episodes and time how much actual, us they get versus how much the character they get. I wonder how much of our actual personalities these listeners actually know, if they only listen to this podcast. Because we don't hang out and talk much. We just get right into character, and we don't get out of character until
in it.
I don't know what you're talking about. Sean is me.
Yes, I've hung out with you. We had a couple beers, and I said, "Wow, look at this burnout, dude! I can't believe he's made it on YouTube."
Yeah.
No, it's true. We all just let's get down to business. Let's be vampires, everybody.
Yeah, man.
But you know what? Maybe that begs the question: if people want that, we should, I don't know, start a Patreon.
Something
and
to
do
think
shows.
of
yeah,
a potential future thing.
Wink, wink.
For behind the scenes bonuses for something that may or may not be percolating in the atmosphere.
Cough, cough.
Wouldn't know anything about that.
Let's play some vampire.
Let's do it.
We'll reel it in, set the scene, and let's see what our coterie is up to. Instead of being greeted by the typical sounds of New York, the screaming sirens, the honking horns, or any club music in the distance, instead we're greeted by the sounds of crickets. A few cars gently driving and strolling down a late-night road, and very few people on the sidewalks as trees and small yards are ever present. Brick buildings are pushed up against one another, and the yard in front is maybe no more than a foot or two long, but each one gets a little patch of grass to call their own. Some houses still have lights on, where you see silhouettes passing by the windows, families tucking in their kids, and TV shows and movies being played late into the night. But the particular house this coterie is going to is the one that Sean was in not too long ago, where he saw the sheriff in the distance talking to the Primogen. And here, we find our coterie walking up the sidewalk, Vera and Sean in view. With the Primogen of Mr. Larson's house only 3 houses down. Did Duke come with?
I'm not sure if Duke would have gone. I've thought about this since the end of that last episode, and I'm not certain. I'm curious to know where it would land with the others if they felt that he was necessary to be there. I know that my presence can rile regular kine.
Vera just would like to speak with Larson. Who's there doesn't really matter. She's going to say what she wants regardless.
Then if you'll have me, for reasons, I'll be there.
All right. The only one not visible would be Max. So we see these 3 walking down the sidewalk, knowing Max is somewhere nearby. And as the house comes into view, does anybody say anything, or do you just march right up to the front door and we watch her as Vera knocks?
His house has quaint suburbia things.
Oh, it's all quaint suburbia. Of course, they're all rather packed tightly together because it's still New York out in the boroughs.
Is there a swing set or something in his backyard that's off the street?
Oh, if you head back and check the backyard, it is a rather small backyard. It's not a swing set, but he does have, you could see the play set out there.
Perfect.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not a swing set, but there's what do you call it?
Like a jungle gym.
Tire swing. A tire swing
okay.
hanging from a tree, and then below it you have a play set of just toys, a
Okay.
castle and some other things nearby.
Yeah, we go out there where all his children's things are.
Okay. You all walk in Vera leads the way at this point, marching past the rest of the houses and taking a hard turn, making directly a path to their backyard as Sean, Duke, and Max follow.
Sean, would you go get him, please?
Fine. I'm gonna sheepishly walk up to the door and
The back door,
like-
or do you want to go to the front door?
he stops as he heads towards the back door and like looks at Vera.
And I go to the front.
Fine.
Sean walks to the front.
Walks all the way around.
Knock, knock, knock.
Yeah.
There's a little bit, a few moments, maybe some noises that you hear, and then eventually you can hear footsteps walk up to the door. There's a moment, and then the door cracks open. What do you want, boy?
We're here for a conversation.
Now?
Everyone, yeah.
It's 11 o'clock. My wife is still awake.
I'm sorry, but I think they're getting a bit paranoid, and I couldn't really
Where are
stop
they?
them.
He looks out past you.
They're in the back.
The backyard?
Yeah, they're in the back.
Fuck. Sean, what the fuck? And the door just shuts in your face. He does not return to the front door. Does Sean just make his way back to the backyard?
Yeah, he's gonna do it relatively quickly as well.
He just kind of, as the door slams, we see Sean scurry down the stairs, and Vera, Max, and Duke, you see him kind of quickly walking back to the backyard.
Duke's eyes would likely be trained in the house, following the lights that move on from room to room. And
There is, in the background, unfocused in the camera, the blurs of silhouettes moving from room to room, as you said.
if his wife becomes visible, he's going to note that.
Sure. You will note that you see her on the second floor. Sean
Larson.
rejoins.
Oh, he's not here yet.
No, he rejoins right now.
He's on his way.
Great.
About 10 minutes pass. Lights are hurriedly turned off. You might even hear Wits Awareness, please.
3.
Okay.
There we go.
3.
So Max and Duke would hear what is undeniably arguing. A few words are caught, and it's clear she's upset that he has to do work or something along those lines. Eventually, the back door swings open, and in sweatpants and a just a striped T-shirt of yellow and white, which is awful now that I think about it in my mind. He walks out to the backyard, sees all four of you. His eyes widen. He looks frustrated as he steps forward, but keeps a good distance between it. Make it quick. What the hell do you want?
Well, so much for hospitality.
My family's still awake.
We know. We can see them.
Great.
Duke, give him the knife.
Produce the knife and hand it to Mr. Larson.
He reaches forward. Is it in a baggie? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's probably still in the baggie that Max
Okay.
wrapped it
So he
in.
reaches forward and takes the bag, and he looks at it. Can I get a from everybody here, please? Wits insight.
But only one success.
2 for Sean.
Mhm.
Terrible willpower.
1 for Duke.
I'm relying entirely on wits in this one.
Oh boy. Okay. It doesn't.
I got
nothing.
2 successes. So.
Yep. Even with 2, that is not what I was looking for. So he takes a knife.
Max got messy.
Oh wait, whoa! I didn't realize Max got a messy critical.
Yeah, he
Oh
did.
my god.
Yeah,
Jesus.
2 10s make
Okay.
that messy crit.
Okay.
Hell.
So the other don't notice. He grabs the bag, Max, and he looks at it. And initially, his reaction is one of confusion. Like almost as like, what the hell are you handing me this for? And that's what he goes to say, like, what the hell is this? But Max, there's a split second that you catch just a glimmer in his eye of recognition, but most importantly, fear when the knife is handed to him.
So I'm still obfuscated, so he wouldn't have
Oh yeah,
actually
you cannot
laid
be
eyes on-
seen.
So again, Max just says in his ear, "See something familiar?"
He leaps. The other 3 didn't hear Max say that, but he leaps and looks to the side, and he no, I don't. What? No. What? Where the hell are you? What? There's 4 of you. Great. No. I don't-
Larson.
It's funny because I could have sworn
It looked like this guy had a little flash of recognition. Oh, and also like he was briefly considering shitting his pants.
Listen, we can't
Larson.
do this right now.
Oh, but we will. And I'd like to share with you why. As we have continued to use our very specific set of skills to look into your very specific problem, all of the lines being drawn seem to be that you may be setting us up. Now, Larson, you came to us with a problem, and at one point I had considered simply letting the prince in on it. Telling her that her ghoul was in fact dead in our domain, was cleaned up, but now you have come to our home. And you have presented your problems to us, and we are now involved. So I thought maybe we should come to your home and get involved. I need more than your thin words. That me and mine are not going to be at the shit end of a stick when you walk away with your problem fixed.
You know, if it wasn't this particular situation, you threatening a Primogen would be grounds for excruciating punishment.
I'm not sure I've threatened anyone.
You showed up at my family's doorstep while they're still awake, ensuring me that we're supposed to speak, but it is a very unique individual problem that we have. Now, I assure you, if I was looking to set you up, I wouldn't have let you in on it. I would have just gone to the prince when I've learned of it, and just let justice its due course.
So then help us out, Larson. Duke, tell him about the ritual.
Which part? The part where it was dated and learned magic. That it required a specific target and it was a crime of passion. Or is it the more interesting bit where that even neonates in the Chantry are unaware as to what this might be, that it's far above their pay grade?
So you brought it to the Chantry?
Yes, I did.
Trust me, your Mia is not outed, and neither are you.
What do you want?
Maybe you can explain to me why that knife produced that kind of reaction.
This is my fucking knife.
Okay. Well, we found Dad stuffed in a mattress in what we think is her hidey hole. So this is your knife from back when you knew her?
Oh, it's a knife I've been missing for a few months.
I see. Okay. So it's looking to me like you're the one being set up.
Can we do this in a few hours, please? Can I say goodnight to my family and get the hell away from this place? We don't have to go to your... We don't have to go where your territory or any of that. Just come back. 2 hours.
Let's do this at the Succubus Club. Come on.
Mr. Larson, before we go, we want answers so that we can solve this problem. We recognize now how valuable it is for Mia to disappear. It would be a shame if this information were to come to light. For reasons, I'm sure you can recognize that, so please, be forthright. Give us everything that we need so that we can solve an issue on both fronts.
2 hours. Come back in 2 hours.
Your wife is lovely, Mr. Larson. Choose carefully what you do.
Don't threaten my family, Duke. And he turns and he leaves.
Well, it's a good thing I don't age. 2 hours.
Okay, you guys want to go catch a movie or something?
A movie? The last time I saw a film, it wasn't even in color.
Can I visibly see that Sean is either disgruntled or upset?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. He is quiet, which is the first sign. And then there's his body language is tense and He doesn't really know what to do with himself.
Duke moves into Sean. I can see that you're perturbed, to say the least.
Yeah. You just threatened fucking man's family. Where do you even come from?
Sean, you recognize that this is threatening our lives.
There's got to be a less disgusting way to go about it.
I'm trying to get under the man's skin. If I can remove him from a place of comfort, then he may be more apt to delivering honest information.
We've got questions for him. He wants this done as much as we do. When it's sorted, we'll all be richer for it or whatever, but it'll be done and we can move back to just pushing drugs and shit. Like, I know there's no such thing as a victimless crime, but I don't want to be that close to the fucking person who's about to get their head chopped off.
Okay, look, everybody, we can probably discuss this elsewhere than on this swing set, so...
As the creaking of the swing.
I guess we've got 2 hours to kill, and don't worry, Sean. We're not going to harm Larson or his family.
No, I would never warn someone first.
So just know he's fine. We're only here to raise the stakes.
Let's go, please.
He needs to know we are serious. Oh, I imagine she's like walking
Yeah,
down
this is as you're
suburbia
walking out from
street,
the
you know?
backyard to the sidewalk and down the street.
Actually, Max will sort of, as Sean falls back, just sort of probably out of earshot of the other two, just leans in and goes,
Look, kid, relax. I wouldn't let him do nothing to his wife or kids. You can count on that.
Yeah, well, I know you've got lines.
And as you walk down the sidewalk and the conversation continues, 2 hours will pass. Do you go watch a movie?
Yeah. I imagine Vera's like, I like this idea. We're going to see a film.
Yeah, let's see Knives Out. How does that?
I kind of want to bring, I would want to bring Vera to like an MCU film and just watch her either hate it.
Where's
or,
the art? Or she would love Thanos.
Or-
No. Oh, her new crush is Thanos.
wait, actually, is Black Widow out in this reality?
Oh yeah, there's no pandemic, so Black Widow's definitely out.
Of course,
go.
it's definitely out, and that's
Oh, you probably have a fond respect and love for
Absolutely.
ScarJo there, and how she carries
so
herself in that
much.
movie.
Yes.
Wonderful. So you're probably gonna be like 10 minutes late. The movie's a little over 2 hours, and Vera has to learn about the the scene after the credits, the post-credit scene. And something very,
and
very
she
new
doesn't
and
understand
exciting.
why isn't it just in the movie?
Exactly. I don't. What? Why can't we just watch it now?
Why is it after the credits?
And eventually you make your way back. As you make your way back, he's not at his house. He's already halfway down the sidewalk, a few buildings down, waiting for you, leaning up against a light post. And as you approach, he meets you halfway and simply gestures to begin walking. Now, I don't know if you want to bring him anywhere specific, but his plan is to just wander the streets.
I imagine Vera has a driver and a car.
Sure. You want to bring? Yeah, that's always a.
I imagine that it's not
Do
like
it in the car?
a giant vehicle or some kind of mass limo, but I imagine we could all get in it.
Big enough where it's like an SUV style with tinted windows or stretched to mini stretch or something. Enough where there's enough room for everybody. But everybody can fit into this, and you have the privacy of the window between the driver and the back. And once everybody files into the car and the car drives away a few blocks, he seems to loosen up ever so slightly and addresses all the four of you. So, okay. Go ahead and ask you questions and...
Let me start by saying I'm sorry for our unforeseen arrival. I just felt we needed to really even the playing field of what we're talking about here, Larson.
Sure. Mission accomplished.
Well, that knife.
Yeah. The damn shame.
if she's framing you,
Yeah.
the question is, for what and why?
Murder of the ghoul, for starters. We think that maybe this knife was used for at least some of the mutilation on the corpse.
Yeah, probably. Look, I don't really know what she's trying to do right now. I will say, I don't think she'd try to... Doesn't seem like her to try and frame me.
You told us that you were in love. And you're telling me you don't know her.
If I had to take a guess, the Princess Ghoul. She was never a fan of Panhard. Base desire, maybe it's a vengeance kill. I don't know. Well, you had questions. Maybe answering them will help you.
Okay, here's one. What other reason could she have besides framing you for stealing your knife, using it to carve up the Prince's Ghoul, and then stashing it in the same building where said ghoul was carved up by like a Christmas turkey?
I'm not going to pretend to know what she was even capable of when I did know her. She was, Tremere. They are secretive, to put it plainly. She loved me. I loved her. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, but I had a family. I had a future, things that I couldn't leave behind, things that I won't leave behind.
Is that why you had to kill her?
I didn't have to kill her because of that.
So
I tried to end things peacefully. She didn't take too kindly to that, and she tried to show me that she was looking out for me.
Larson, you're being cryptic again.
Not trying to be.
So you're telling us you didn't think it was pertinent that we know that she's actually pissed at you because you broke her heart?
She tried to kill the prince for me.
Oh, Larson.
And I ratted her out.
And what's to say that we don't do the same thing right now to the prince with you?
He just looks around. I don't have any way of stopping you.
I'm going to be honest, Larson. It's not looking good for you in all of this.
Killing me ain't gonna stop her.
So you
Especially
think
if
she's
she's
here
put
to
her
kill the
eyes on
prince
me.
again?
As she goes, especially, well, he just gestures to Sean.
What?
Well,
You don't know your sire, right, Sean? I'm sorry to cut you off, Mr. Maxwell.
No.
Yeah.
Do you?
Sean. There's a reason I took you under my wing. There's a reason I looked out for you, and there's a reason she has her eyes on you now.
Please finish that fucking sentence with "I know who your sire is. It's that dickbag over there."
Who are you gesturing to?
Like just out the window.
Max sort of raises a big taloned finger and is pointing towards Larson.
I also point towards Larson.
Yeah. How you doing, kid?
No wonder. Well, I feel so much better, don't you, Larson?
Accident.
I feel so much fucking better. That's all I wanted to hear. Oh, thanks. What kind of fucking accident does this?
One involving me and Mia.
Or you get too excited?
Well, Mia almost killed you, kid.
What? I've never met her.
Yeah, I know you don't remember shit.
The fuck does that mean?
It's hard to remember things once the fangs sink in the first time. It's the best drug you probably ever had, right? Except she was gonna drain you dry. And I didn't want to let you die because that would be cruel.
Yeah, well, cruelty is the bread and fucking butter of this lot, innit?
Yeah, well, if it came forward that I sired you purposefully, I'd be dead and you'd be dead. But at least the orphan excuse is enough. It's what saved me when I was a lick. Figured it'd work for you too.
So what, am I supposed to say thank you now?
No,
What do you want?
you're asking questions, I'm giving you answers. Telling you why she won't stop if I end up dying.
What does that mean?
You telling me she saw you, right?
Yeah.
Why do you
There
think
was-
that? I haven't seen her in years, Sean. Years and now, but you see her?
Well, someone finally fucking feels remorse. She came to say sorry.
Is that what it was?
She didn't say shit.
Oh, that's right, because her mouth is sewn shut. Would you like to cover that piece of the mystery as well?
Yeah, what do you want to know?
Why her mouth is sewn shut? A punishment of such does not come for some fair cost or for killing a frail frame like his.
Keeping the mouth of a Tremere shut prevents them from doing their most dangerous stuff.
And something tells me these ain't regular stitches.
No,
She,
she helped me make them.
yeah, and she can't take them out herself, right?
Burn away the flesh of any kindred who touches it.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, you're really gonna want those safety scissors, kid.
That don't work. The ritual has to be done.
Oh,
Who
she
helped you with this
fucking-
ritual the first time?
Well, she did. We walked through it together. So the fact that you're telling me that she's still doing rituals, or at least attempting to with a closed mouth, is concerning.
well, she seems to be able to pull off at least a little bit of hocus pocus.
Mr. Larson. She managed to ensanguinate the entire body. A diablerization of a ghoul.
You can't diablerize a ghoul, Duke. You know that. Come on.
I understand, but of the level of magic, my contacts at the Chantry informed me that this is the type of magic that was utilized. Full exsanguination.
Hmm. Now, this ghoul was bound to the prince, right? So, could somebody who knew what they were doing use the blood of a ghoul to get to the kindred that created it?
Oh,
I wish I could
Max.
answer, but I don't know shit about blood sorcery, Max.
Yeah, me neither.
But you may be onto something. We may not know shit about blood magic, but we do know that Vitae is, especially that of a kindred, very important. What if she did, in fact, rip the prince's blood from their ghoul? A ghoul that has been glued to the prince for decades. Both a statement of distaste for the prince, but also a way to get the prince's blood. Which it doesn't
if the
matter
ghoul
what...
recently fed, it's potentially, yeah, that might, maybe. I don't.
There's still something strange that bothers me. The state of the ghoul. Calm. Didn't seem concerned that their limbs were being chopped off or that they may be scalped.
Well, I mean, there's probably any number of ways she could pacify him, right?
He nods. He gestures to Duke. One of the blue bloods could easily simply look at somebody and command them to not move. And one of a powerful enough stature could command one to kill themselves. There's
So a
many ways.
Tremere with a
Yeah.
stitched mouth is both doing magic that they should not and is able to, say, subdue the prince's ghoul. Without words.
He just looks kind of to the ground and shrugs. I don't know what to tell you.
She seems rather powerful, Larson.
Now, you said that you knew how to take the stitches out. That seems to be, to me anyway, seems to be something that she would want. Something that she'd be aiming for.
Well, piss her off to know that all the notes I took on that ritual burned after I fucking stitched her up, so I...
Okay, then. Well, I mean, we're really interrupting a kind of tender family reunion here. Maybe we should step out.
I look at Sean.
Listen, Sean. Would knowing it was me from the beginning have helped at all? What would that have changed for you?
I don't know. Honestly, I learned everything I know from these three. So, I don't think it fucking matters who did it.
Exactly. It doesn't. What matters is that you're just here now. Something us Thin Bloods have a unique perspective of that these, and he gestures to the rest, never will. Never.
When just existing is a fucking crime? Yeah. Feels good to have people at your back.
Vera might look guilty if she wasn't wearing a veil. You could see her face.
Max is kind of gently humming Cats in the Cradle.
Tell me, Larson, when all this is done, what do you want out of this?
Peace.
Do you want her dead? You know that is a fairy tale.
I don't know what she's trying to do. Last time she was trying to kill the prince. Or me.
And so the prince in return made you kill her.
I outed her. Yeah, I outed her on purpose. I didn't think that she had a shot at killing the prince. Her plan was a bit far-fetched, to say the least.
And can I ask you a very personal question?
Please?
Were you seated after you brought such information to the prince's purview?
He simply kind of closes his eyes and nods gently.
I see.
However, if it matters, that wasn't my intention.
It doesn't. But means that the prince, for whatever reason, has a soft spot for you.
She does. And I had a choice. Throw my lot in with somebody who was going to become prince and had a soft spot for thin bloods like myself. Someone like me who was simply just trying to exist. We're going with the plan that Mia had. Try to kill the one rising to Prince and try to have a Thin Blood run New York. How's that sound?
Oh, well, my opinion doesn't really matter on such political things, but Larson, I will say, we're gonna fix whatever this problem is. But I cannot promise you'll come out the other side with your life. The prince gave it back to you once. And for whatever reason, this love doesn't seem to value yours very much. We will do what we can. And if we find her, do we do what you could not?
Yeah.
Mr. Larson. And here I thought you loved her. And about this time, I imagine the car just pulls up in front of his house.
Sure. As it lurches to a stop.
It's like, have a good evening, Mr. Larson.
Damn. Yeah. And then he just leaves. The car door opens and he shuts it behind him, and you watch him march up those front steps, head into his home, lock the door behind him, and the car pulls away.
Well, at least we're not trying to be set up by Larson. The bad news is he is a complicated little thin blood.
Yeah, you see what I mean there, kid? Sometimes it's best just not knowing.
Yeah, well, let's hope Gustav doesn't come around with some fucking revelations as well.
Fuck that guy. At the mention of his name, there's just a string of muffled swearing coming from the area of the car that Max is sitting in.
Now consider me jealous. I've not even found out much about Gustav.
All you need to know is that Gustav ain't worth nothing. And if I ever get my hands on him, yeah. Again, more muffled swearing.
I love it when Max gets all riled up.
There's still some things that were not quite discussed with Mr. Larson, and I feel like they beg an answer. Why did Mia want to kill the prince to begin with?
For him. She wanted to seat him as prince, and felt that getting rid of the current one was the best way to start that.
If that's true.
For him, he kept saying.
Then, what was the plan? And what's to say that she's not enacting it again now?
These are my thoughts exactly. She didn't finish what she came to do, or she came to finish what she started. And I have the same feeling about Sean in all of this. She's either here to finish what she started, or she has a personal connection to you, because you have a personal connection to Larson. The thing he saved. Special little Sean.
A few more questions, if you will. Does anyone else find it odd that the Primogen failed to report a missing butcher's knife, knowing full well that he has his own skeletons in his closet?
Well, I mean, it had been a long time since she'd been around. His knife goes missing. He's suddenly going to report it. That doesn't surprise me too much.
Yeah, but he didn't investigate it either.
Yeah.
Next, who reported the body? And why would they go directly to Larson?
This is a question I, too, am still simmering on. It was somewhat known that the Princess Ghoul was missing. We just didn't know that the Princess Ghoul was in fact slaughtered in our domain.
Wouldn't you think that it would be more favorable for the individual reporting it to go directly to the prince?
Maybe they owe Larson something.
then someone else knows the secret.
Probably.
We're missing information here.
It's true. We should simmer on it. Elysium is in a few days.
Yeah, it ain't it my luck it falls on Halloween.
Yes, your favorite holiday, right?
It
Max?
used to be.
I know, Max.
Now whenever I see the cardboard pumpkins going up in the windows, yeah. I need to take a walk. I'll see you back at the club.
The door swings open again, and Max leaves on the side of a road.
Our usual Halloween party at the club is going to have to be cancelled this year. It's not really a good idea for us to leave the club unattended on Halloween.
Why?
The ongoing tension between Max and his sire is coming up on an anniversary. 10 years. And I'll speak with Max about it. But you should know his sire is... well, he's as much scourge of the earth as mine, but in a different kind of way. The last thing we need is for, say, Gustav to set fire to the club with hundreds of people inside it.
I'm gonna go.
Do you want to talk about it, Sean?
Yeah, we'll have a chat later, though.
It looks like it's just me and you, Duke.
A companion that I'm happy to have at times.
I'm afraid we may have gone a little too hard on Larson. Sean seems rattled.
I think we went aptly hard enough.
I agree. And I would say neither of us made threats.
No,
Larson, just a little bit of a pushover.
I was merely admiring his wife. She is rather beautiful.
She's quaint, that's for sure.
Vera, why aren't we approaching the prince? Be honest with me.
I don't know yet. Sometimes I just have a feeling. There's something about this one. And as much as I struggle to say it, something about Larson is obviously important to Sean. And now that we know he's dearest daddy, and for such a heartfelt reason, I don't find it beneficial for us. And you and I both know I don't take the heads of Thin Bloods anymore. And I don't know if I would be suited to have to take Sean's in all of this.
I can respect that decision. And that wish. I still do not have a problem with it. If it were to be asked of me, I would follow through simply for the Camarilla's sake.
Well, we know I would too, wouldn't we? But that's neither here nor there.
Oh.
The fact of the matter is, I still think we can go to the prince. I'm sure the prince has a very different view of all of this. Selective information is still truthful information. And I'm sure the prince would still be glad to know, at least to some degree, that their prized ghoul is in fact dead, and that we cleaned up the mess.
I would value as much, yes. Vera, before I forget,
Oh, yes.
your date with Sean and Max. where I was left alone.
Yes, our menage a trois, as it was called, though I found myself feeling a little thirsty.
I'm having trouble reading your intentions with this, but it's neither here nor there.
I've stumped Duke. Well, please.
I may have discovered a link. Not to our current ordeal. As I said earlier, I've been working with Detective Prescott, taking cold cases, and one had interested me, and there was just enough information and concurrent details regarding a fire. I was able to tether some information regarding an insurance claim from a previous owner of the club. The arson is more than suspect. I find it interesting that nobody investigated the insurance claim and its surprise rise in overall value.
It's a different time than Duke.
Well, you know me. I like to read the numbers. They're fickle, but they're honest.
Are you trying to tell me that Astor set fire to the theater?
Short of him directly answering, yes, I believe that your sire, while I am unaware of their name at this point, I believe it is as such, Astor was the one that was involved with the arson the night of your embrace.
I would say I'm surprised, but
I've connected the dots. It's in a manila folder. It's been slipped under your door. If you'd like to review them, now you have more verifiable proof than not.
thank you, Duke. How apropos. My sire burns my soon-to-be haven, and Max's sire burns his once was.
I've never owned anything, Vera. I own history, and that's what I have. And my sire owns me. He reminds me frequently, but it doesn't bother me.
It's good. I have quite frequently dreamed of taking the tongue of my sire for saying such things. I should speak to Max. We may have to beef up some security through this holiday weekend.
Vera, if you have means of communicating with Maxwell to determine if I can be of more aid in regards to Gustav, I'd like to offer my support. He's not been very forthcoming with information, but you know that I am quite capable of defining an answer in a series of puzzles.
Yes. The way you plot, Duke, is so very similar to Gustav.
You just have to
I
wait
will-
for people to speak. Read their intentions, their gestures. Read their face.
Yes. All of these things. As if it was a script written by Gustav. Max's distaste for you is personal, but not really. I'll chat with him, and if something comes out the other side and we need it, you know I never hesitate to ask.
Well, I never go far. You know where to find me.
It's true. Until then.
The two separate, and the camera shifts to a similar looking area as to where the Primogen that you just encountered was. A place of suburban residential zones, trees, parks, plenty of areas to walk. A place by the name of Greenwich Village. And as the camera crawls through the streets, before long it plummets below the city street and into the sewers. Silence other than trickling water is all we hear for a while until eventually the definitive splash of footsteps as we watch a silhouette that we are familiar with walk into view. Max is making his way through the sewers, deciding that tonight's a night to enjoy a hit of nostalgia, even if it brings back moments of rage. As Max guides his way through the sewers, what is left when he eventually gets to where his old haven was? What is left there, and what scene do we see Maxwell walk into?
It was a very well-hidden haven. It was very well constructed, actually built around the remains of a hidden fallout shelter below the sewers. So it was quite well set up when Max moved in. We see destruction. There are a number of display cases. We know Max was a collector, and a lot of items that he'd collected over the years. There are bookshelves, all of them reduced to ruin. And there are skeletal remains. Predominant among them, near the sort of entrance to the haven, are the skeletal remains of a very large alligator. Max sort of stoops down, puts his hand on the skull, and just sort of sighs. How you doing, Pinky? He pulls himself up and continues deeper into the haven, and we see there's skeletal remains of a number of cats scattered around, and also humanoid remains as well. Max sits down in what was once a very nice leather wingback chair. Now it's completely burnt, dilapidated. Actually, when he sits down on it, the leg breaks, and he remains sitting in it. Hey, you fellas. What's the rumpus?
There's that awkward nothingness. The still air and the dust that hangs nearby. And Max is left with just his own question echoing throughout the remains of his haven. The chair settles some more, even cracks a little bit more, and we see him list to the side slightly.
Okay, Gustav. We got an anniversary coming up. Time to finally pull my head out of my ass.
Max pulls himself up again.
The chair actually collapses the rest of the way as you push your weight off of the chair and it crumbles underneath you.
And he pauses briefly and sort of touches each of the skeletal remains, including all of the cats and whatnot. And takes one last look at the place and walks out the door.
Where would you go? Would you go back to the club?
Yeah, I think he'll be returning to the club, to his storage closet.
And we watch as Max walks out of view, turning a corner in the sewers as the camera lingers in the old haven, before we blur one more time, a different part of the city. Where did Sean end up going after he left the vehicle?
Sean. Sean's gonna go do some alchemy.
So back to the club.
So he's... this time, he's probably gonna summon his friends, in air quotes, to a probably like an abandoned warehouse that he probably used to sell out of.
As you're walking your way out of the city, blocks have to pass. It's going to be at least an hour or two of you just enjoying the New York streets as you make your way to the outskirts where warehouses and storage are happening. As you finally break away from all the commercial and the residential, and now you're in that more industrial part of the city. Can I get a wits awareness as you're passing by a bunch of different warehouses throughout?
But I get one.
You notice nothing. You continue to walk, and the warehouse up ahead that you plan on meeting them is there, and they should be here in 15, 20 minutes. Not long. However, before you get too far, you hear a throat clear behind you.
Sean slowly turns around, assuming it's one of his herd.
As you spin around to see, the audience hears the rise of that very definitive song, the one that we heard in the trailer and the one we heard in episode 1. As the camera pans up and we see the neon-colored pleather outfit, the bi-colored hair, And of course, the stitch slips as she looks to you sheepishly with a smirk.
Sean's not in the mood for bullshit, so he's just kind of stand there and give her this look of, what this time?
If you just kind of cross your arms, she actually droops in disappointment and looks sad. And she turns and skips, or she's not skips, walks a few steps back before she skips over a manhole. She bends down and she wiggles her fingers in the corners of it before she, with a bit of struggle, you can hear it scraping against the concrete. The manhole is lifted and she slides it off to the side.
There's got to be some way you can communicate.
She gives you an enthusiastic nod, and then she looks down, and then she shrugs, and she jumps.
Holy, I'm going to send a message to my herd.
Sure.
To say...
Take out a burner phone?
Yeah, change your plan. Go to the club. Through the back, obviously. Don't fuck with my stuff. And tell Vera that I'm following the stitches.
As you send that, a few minutes later, they just get you get a question mark back.
I just send an exclamation mark back.
The next reply is, I ain't talking to Vera. Hell no. And you will not get any more replies after that. You'll send maybe a few more. But we watch as Josh sends a few more and frustrated claps the burner phone shut, shoves it into a pocket, approaches the manhole, and thinks for a minute. Does Sean jump?
I'm gonna check my convictions. Yeah, I think he does.
So we see him take a deep breath. The camera right over his left shoulder. We can see a part of the back of his head and his shoulder, but mostly just the giant manhole in front of him. And with a breath, we see him just leap, plummet, and the camera follows in suit and dives into the darkness. And we'll end the episode there. And we'll come back next week for our Halloween special. A little bit of what Sean was doing and what Elysium has in store. See you then.
Now, I'm sure you've heard Vera saying her phones, but if we're going to break 1 billion followers, then I'm going to need you to do me a little favor. If you could hop onto Twitter and follow us at Pod by Night, that would be mint, and a 5-star review on iTunes ain't going to hurt either. And maybe I'll share some of them spicy DMs with you. Cheers, mate.
A very special thank you to Kimberly and Sean Casey for sponsoring this little podcast. Stitch of Fate wouldn't be possible without your incredible kindness and support. You sure know how to rouse our blood.